This is what happens when a high-grade Gundam Barbatos 6th form meets a few bottles of bargain basement nail polish. If you've been watching my channel, you'll know that a few months back... Has it been 10 months? Huh. Wow. Alright, so for those of you new to the game, I wanted to see what you can do with 20 bucks starting with literally nothing. No supplies, no tools, no kit. How far can 20 bucks take you when you're just starting out, or shall we say just value conscious? Well, this is how far a $15 high grade and some cheap nail polish got me. Not far. You'll see throughout the kit which parts I did later in the build, as I started to run out of nail polish and had to work with one coat. Additionally, some of the armor doesn't want to fit on the kit anymore thanks to how thick it was applied. And forget about any detailing on the white undersides of armor panels. Surprisingly, I was able to slather enough nail polish on the inner frame for it to be quasi-presentable. But the glittery red? My god. Might as well have been painting with melted gummy bears. There are many ways you could describe the nail polish Barbatos, and trust me, I've heard them all. Hideous, vulgar, sloppy, tasteless, garish, Discord server ban-worthy, nightmarish, slipshod, G-savior levels of badness. And I absolutely love it. Today we're going to talk about the most important thing anyone creative can put in their toolbox. It's not a brush, not snips, not acrylic thinner. It's perspective. If you are ever on the internet, and since this channel is hosted there, you likely have been, you have seen more than a few people sharing their various creative things on the internet. It's human nature to crave attention. Hell, it's probably subconsciously at least why I started this channel. And many times, especially if it's someone that isn't always forthcoming with their work, you'll see a comment attached to it that goes something like this. Here's my 11 by 17 Who-Da-What's-It. I don't want to post a bigger picture because it pretty much looks as appealing as a trunk full of angry bees that's been broken down on the side of the freeway, and you were its driver. No one's stopping to help you with your bee problem, you know. Jerry in the tasteful crossover that just drove by, yeah, he's got places to be, and Susan in the sedan, she has a bee allergy. How dare you even think about asking Susan to help you? She doesn't even have an EpiPen on her right now. She gave her last one to a grandmother that was literally dying from bees while she was out in the garden. Not from a sting, mind you, just being in the presence of bees was literally killing this woman, you insensitive fuck. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments below. Self-criticism is tricky. A little self-criticism can actually have great benefits. It keeps your ego in check and ensures that you are always looking to improve yourself. It can even be used to overcome social anxiety by way of self-depreciating humor. Too much, however, and you start to skew into and beyond the spectrum of masochism. Yeah, that masochism. Well, sort of. Let me explain. Or rather, since I'm not a psychologist, let some people smarter than me explain. The The scholarly publication, Journal of Cognitive Psychotherapy, has some insight on the phenomena of self-criticism in the aptly named scholarly paper, Self-Criticism and Self-Warmth, an imagery study exploring their relation to depression. I can only assume that they chose this title because calling the article Why We Treat Ourselves Like Crap Sometimes didn't sound as highbrow. The article was co-written by Paul Gilbert, Michael Palmer, and Chris Irons of Kingsway Hospital in Derby, UK, as well as Mark W. Baldwin and Jodine R. Backus of McGill University. I think I'll take their word on the human psyche over my own, so what did they have to say about the subject? Social mentalities can be used in self-to-self relating. For example, people can become sexually aroused by their own internal images. Or in the case of yaoi artists, attempt to arouse others with their internal images. They can feel pleasure or pride from their own self-evaluations, or adopt submissive and appeasing orientations to their own self-attacks. And you can already see where this is going. Gilbert, in 4 separate scholarly articles dating from 1989 to 2005, suggested that the internal systems humans use to respond to external social cues, such as feeling relaxed and supported by positive social cues, or fearful, inhibited, and submissive to threat signals from powerful others, are linked to social mentalities, and thus can also be the templates with implicit procedures for processing and responding to internal cues. That is, we can, for example, become submissive and discouraged by our own self-attacks using the same effect responses system to our own attacks as are used when others put us down. Why he didn't say that the first time is beyond me, but regardless. Hence, when we attack and criticize ourselves, we are probably activating some similar brain pathways as if someone else was doing it. So basically, we react to treating ourselves like crap in the same way as when others treat us like crap. Got it. In fact, Greenberg, Elliott, and Forrester, in a paper published in 1990, suggested that depression was more likely when individuals could not defend themselves against their own attacks, felt beaten down and defeated by them, and submissively accept their self-criticisms. So basically, it could be said that we put down our work in advance of others as a defense mechanism and as a means to build up tolerance to real criticism. From there, it's easy to make the leap that some people, at least on a subconscious level, actually like this behavior. There's a certain comfort in knowing our tolerances to criticism, a sense that we know we can take what the audience can dish out. Go back to that wall of text for a second. There's 2 key takeaways here. They can feel pleasure or pride from their own self-evaluations or adopt submissive and appeasing orientations to their own self-attacks. That's 1. The other is this. When we attack and criticize ourselves, we are probably activating some similar brain pathways as if someone else was doing it. Criticism, humiliation, and insulting behavior are all closely related. And if we react much the same way as when others do it as when we do it ourselves, what does that mean for somebody that actively likes being humiliated? Normally, the self seeks control, says Roy Baumeister in the book Masochism and the Self, but masochists desire to relinquish control. Normally, the self seeks to protect its dignity and maximize its esteem, but masochists desire humiliation. As Lily Fine, professional dominatrix, explained to Psychology Today a few years back, I may hurt you, but I will not harm you. I will not hit you too hard, take you further than you want to go, or give you an infection. That feeling of safety that a submissive person finds in a dominatrix is much the same feeling that we might feel criticizing our own work. Just stick with me, it'll make sense in a minute. The sub can hand themselves over to the dom knowing that even with the dom in full control, they're always safe. We can let ourselves be critical of our work because we know that no matter how harsh we are, it is ourselves causing the criticism in a safe environment. In either instance, we can escape from the consequences that could come from an unhealthy environment featuring humiliation, pain, or simply criticism, and it's that escape that is craved by more people than you might think. But why would anyone in today's society want to escape from self? Good question, Mr. Baumeister, as quoted this time in the scholarly paper, Masochism as Escape from Self. In this paper, he shows how this silly thing our brains do works. It's especially poignant considering it was published in 1988, well before you Instagram that super Femina you carved a chunk out of by mistake when cleaning its nub marks. It's plausible that high-level self-awareness can lead to anxiety and discomfort under some circumstances. The requirements of making decisions under pressure or uncertainty, of taking responsibility for actions that may disappoint or harm others, of maintaining a favorable public and private image of self despite all threats and challenges, and of asserting control over a recalcitrant social environment. About that $5 word for you, recalcitrant. I've never used that in a sentence. Can become oppressive and stressful and can foster desires to escape. This burden of selfhood can be used to explain and predict the selective appeal of masochism. Additionally, masochism can serve as an effective deterrent to unwanted thoughts and feelings, perhaps especially feelings of guilt, anxiety, or insecurity. So, if you take verbal potshots at the kits you build, it's perfectly conceivable you do so in comfort that what you're doing is then the most favorable outcome. The book Self-Defeating Behaviors, Experimental Research, Clinical Impressions, and Practical Implications, edited by Rebecca C. Curtis, features the following citation regarding what she calls self-handicapping disorder. One unique aspect of self-handicapping disorder, as cited in 3 articles published in 1978 and 1985, is that it appears to be self-destructive, but instead protects a highly favorable but fragile competence image from the negative feedback. For example, getting drunk before an important job interview. The guy getting toasted before the interview isn't looking to bomb the interview, and the guy talking down his Gunpla skills isn't fishing for negative comments either. The drunken interviewee wants the job and he feels he has a better chance of getting it by disarming himself, hitting the bottle beforehand. The negative Nancy hating on their own build feels they will get a better response if they put down their final product first. We're supposed to go into the interview sober. We're supposed to appreciate our work, but sometimes we want to escape from what we're supposed to do. Because you've put down your work, you feel more comforted, more prepared to take in any criticism that may be levied towards your work, and can even gain a sliver of enjoyment from the reception of criticism. And the crazy thing is that many smart brain people agree that's actually healthy. Well, not always, considering self-defeating personality disorder has been on and off the DSM multiple times in certain forms over the last several decades, and there's the matter of taking it too far. In the essay Against Self-Criticism by psychologist Adam Phillips, he states that we are continually, if unconsciously, mutilating and deforming our own character. Indeed, so unrelenting is this internal violence that we have no idea what we are like without it. We know virtually nothing about ourselves because we judge ourselves before we have the chance to see ourselves, as though in panic. In other words, hate on your Gunpla too much, and you'll forget how to enjoy the build. Take your self-criticism in jest, knowing that it's you, the creator of your work, controlling what you have to say about it. And you just might find that letting yourself open up to criticism can feel very rewarding. I think it's pretty apparent at this point that it's important to accept criticism when it comes your way. And how you get to that point is up to you. Hell, I'm guilty of putting down my own work preemptively, especially in my formative years when I was that teenager making AMVs with Disturbed and Papa Roach tracks after school because I take my work seriously, damn it, and no, I'm not making Linkin Ball Z videos like a poser, and I'm only uploading my stuff using Huffy because YouTube looks like shit and... Learning to take criticism in stride is essential to improving your work, and for many people, being their harshest critic is the way it starts. And that's okay. Once you're ready, take your work for what it is, and who knows, maybe one day you'll end up buying some nail polish and dumping it on your own bad Gunpla. Take care, everybody.